Hi friends, it's Liz here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would show you some items that I have added to my ideas junk journal. If you haven't seen these journals before, I will link everything below so you can see a flip through of this one and a previous one that I have. This is where I add ideas, references, things to go back to that I may want to add to journal pages in the future. And just to keep record of, things that we've made and things that inspire us. So at one point I had shown you a little brief kind of peek of this pocket here. So we'll be making something similar to this one today. And then I had also shown you this little secret journaling spot, and we will be making this one as well. I think we will have time for both. So getting started. For this pocket, I realized that not many of you might have the doily dies that I have, which are these two here. I will link them below if I find something similar on Amazon or the shop that I previously got them from, which is in Love Arts. So I will link all that in a description box below, as well as on my blog in case you can't find that description box. But I realized that a lot of you don't have that die. So I'm tweaking this opening a little bit, like the little doors. And I'm going to show you a different way to put this together. Also, you wouldn't be able to use regular doilies because they're so thin. And these ones, I cut them out with a nice thick cardstock. So that's why it works for this particular project. Now, this is not my original idea. I will link below the channel that I saw this, oh my gosh, a while back. And she did also use a die for her. So anyways, I happen to have the die. It kind of worked for this particular project. However, like I said, I know many of you may not have that access to the die. And this one does have a little pocket in the center, and then I left a pocket in the back when you add it to your journal. So let me show you my next version to this one. Okay, so I have a piece of leftover scrapbook, which is I believe it's 8 inches by 4 inches. Okay, so that's the size of the cardstock. I've gone ahead and scored it at 2 inches and at 6 inches when you have it on your scoreboard this way. And this is what makes your little pocket. So just grabbing my scoreboard just to show you in case you're a visual like I am. So this is your sheet of scrapbook paper. Let me see if I'm in frame. I am. So you see that it's 8 inches by 4 inches. Okay, and then you score at 2 and at 6. And this gives you this little kind of door opening. Moving that aside. So the next thing I thought we would do, again, using scrapbook paper, because I'm really trying to use up my little leftover scrapbook pieces. I just cut out a little piece to make a pocket. This you can make it whatever size you want, but it just fits within the pocket itself. And then for this one, I did go ahead and cut the little notch, which I think I will do again. You don't need to do this, but I kind of like to have a little notch on the pocket just so you can see that there's something there. And now I'll go ahead and glue this down. And again, let me just check that I am in frame. I think I am. Okay. So just go ahead and glue this on 3 sides. So the 2 sides and the bottom. And this will make our little pocket. And in case you want a specific measurement for this particular little scrapbook paper piece, it's about 1.5 inches, and it's almost a 4-inch length. You have to cut it just a little bit shorter so that it doesn't get in the way of your folds. Okay, so then I thought, this is just plain and not so fun to look at, and I thought I would take one one of my Martha Stewart punches, because it gives you that little doily kind of on the edge. And I think I'm going to use this one. So I'm just going to go ahead and just punch out my little edges. And I apologize if I am not in frame, because I need to make sure I can, oh, I almost did that wrong. I almost messed that up. Okay. And I'm sure you can figure out what punch you might want to use. And so you see that kind of gives it a nice finish there. I'm just going to do that to both sides. And hoping that I can see what I'm doing here. It's a little tough sometimes when I'm making a little how-to video to show you everything, because I'm trying not to lean over the pages, or sorry, the camera. So see how, I like that. See how it gives you a little bit kind of more movement, and you can kind of see inside a little peek, but it's not too much that you've taken off. I really like how that looks. So again, if you don't have your doily, which I've realized that many of you probably don't have that die, I wanted to do this alternative instead. So we have that there. And then instead, again, of adding, because for this one I added my little metal fasteners there, and I figured that another way to do that, instead of kind of closing it that way, would just be to add a little bit of ribbon, or, you know, your favorite something, string to tie it around. So you can, I don't need to cut this up to show you, but this is what it would look like when it's done nicely, and I've cut up whatever piece I want. So you've got your little piece here that would hold it down. And again, same thing, you know, you add it to your pocket, or your page, I should say, right? And then you would glue that completely down if you wanted to. And again, if you wanted to add your little brads, you could go ahead and do that and kind of tie that string together. So maybe I will do that with you, just so that you have the full little version here. Okay, so I have my little box of different kinds of brads. I did grab my 5 1/8 inch little paper punch, because I think I need to make about 4 of these little pieces. And as you can see, I just like to use my scraps for this part, so that I am not left with pieces of things that, you know, that I can't use. So I'll cut 4 of those if it wants to come out. And then I'll pick my little brads that I want to add. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be anything too complicated. And for this project, my friends, I am just, I'm just going to grab these blue ones. I'm just using my scraps. I am not, you know, distressing. I am not doing anything fancy, because this is just to show you, you know, how the little mechanisms work and how we can put them together. So the next thing we will do is attaching our little, I guess our little, what do we call these? Our little circles to the front there. I'm trying to put them in a spot where they're not so close to the edge, because I don't want that to kind of come off there. So I think we'll add them there. And let me just grab my glue and hold those down. And I'm going to add glue right to the actual cardstock itself, and just kind of add that there. And then this one, I will eyeball it again. Maybe I shouldn't be eyeballing, but it's supposed to be a fun and easy project. Okay, so we have that there. You can see the little, okay, let me move that out of the way. Okay, so then what I'll do here is I'll just add my little my tiny little hole to this spot here. And I'm trying to use my small side because I don't want to make it too big, but probably it is too big for my center there. And, you know, again, eyeballing it, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, and so then this way we'll be able to kind of see where the next side is going to go on my back. But before I do that, I'm trying to decide if I actually want to add the brads. Do I want the brads? Do we need the brads? I mean, this is the decision part. I thought it'd be cute because it's like blue and blue in the inside, but I don't know if I want the brads. Sometimes I find that I'm not sure. I think I do. Okay, I think I do. So we'll go ahead and we will open these up and add them to the front. This is the part that I'm not always sure about if I want to add those or not, but I think I will for this project. So go ahead and get your brad ready. And the other piece of the little circle I'm using for just closing it on the back so it's not open when you've got it there. And you know what? I just realized I think I'm going to add no, that's fine. This is what happens when I'm trying to film without having to edit, my friends, because sometimes I find that this is just a little bit easier. All right, so as I fumble, as I try and put these together here, apologies if I'm out of focus there or on the screen. Okay. All right, that is cute. I don't mind it. So then we will add our extra little circles to the back just to cover up the little brads, because sometimes they're just, it's nicer covered up. And again, you can use your, you know, really nice fancy paper that you want to use for this project. I always suggest making almost like a sample one that you can use as your first try, so that, you know, if you make a mistake or you cut something a little off, that you're not messing up with your really nice piece of paper that you might have wanted to use. Okay, so we have that, and then I'm just grabbing my little bin of extra bits that I have, and I think I'm going to use this little one. Hopefully that will work. And this one, I'm just going to, it's probably a little too thick for this project. And you're probably all saying to me, Liz, you shouldn't have glued that down too much. No, that's too thick. Let's see what else I have. I have so many little bits and bobs here in my little bin that I kind of like to use them up. So maybe let's try this one. This one might be a little bit easier. Maybe I will tie it around the brad because it's easier to kind of put it through there. And I'm just going to kind of twirl it around once around the brad, as you see there. And then I will twirl it back on this side. And then here we go, one more time. And then we've got our little closure. So I'm just going to cut that up. I think that looks cute. Cut off a little bit there because we don't want that hanging so much. And there we have it, my friends. Here's a little version of similar pocket. But again, if you don't have the doilies, I thought I would show you this option because it's still really cute. You still have the doily kind of idea there. Okay, moving on. Put that aside. So the next one is this one here. This one's like the secret journaling spot. This one goes in the center of, you know, your journal pages, but you don't have to necessarily have it there. I just, for this particular project, I did do that. So what you need, again, super easy. Just grabbing my pieces here. Put that aside so I can see what I have. So 8 by 8 piece of paper. That's what I have here. Okay, and you fold that in half. Okay, and then open it up, and then you give it another fold to the center again, as close as you can get to that center line. It's hard to see when you work with like a white sheet of paper to actually see the lines. I'm not sure if you have the same issues. So there's that. And then we'll fold the other side as well. Okay, so you've got this sort of mechanism happening, or this page there. Then you take one center piece and you fold it back out to kind of meet the line of your fold. Okay. And if you have a scoreboard, you could do that with a scoreboard, but I'm just showing you again. If you don't have any of the tools, you can do this without the tools. Again, you bring this side over and you try and get it as close to your edge there. So you're left with this. Okay. Hopefully you're following me through that. Okay, so the next step, let's open it back up. This is where you decide how much of a fold you want up and fold from the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to say that I'm going to start just cutting a little bit from the bottom. And as you can see here, I'm just cutting the center. So not my folds, but that center fold there. And then I'm just going to go up a little bit and folding it up to see how that looks. Okay. Now I think I'm just going to cut a little bit more of this edge here, just to get it to close a little better. Okay, so you can see how that's looking there. And then we'll do the same with the top. And let's cut on the side there. And I'm eyeballing this, but again, you could just, if you wanted to measure and then kind of mark where you want your folds to be. And you can see how I folded that over there. So now you've got your little secret journaling spot. Okay. So the next step, let me just fix this up a little bit because I notice now how uneven that is. The next step is taking your little concoction here. I'm just folding it onto itself because I'm trying to get rid of a lot of the edges here. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut. Maybe I'm leaving like a 1/4 inch from the top there. Same at the bottom. Okay. And then we open that up and you've got your same little system again. So this is the other part that we have to figure out. I use the doily, of course, for the center of this one. And as I said before, doilies are, not everybody has them, but this one definitely is nicer looking with a doily. And you also have to be careful of your size. So this is one of the smallest doilies that I have, and that wouldn't work very well because it's not covering up my mechanism and all that. This one covers a little bit more. Yes, you can still see a little bit on the back, as you can see there. But because I'm using a white sheet behind it, you don't really see it poking through too much with my doily, right? So this is what we will be using to make the mechanism. So the next step is to fold your doily in half. Now, this doily I did get from A Tattered Dream. So this is Denise's shop on Etsy. And I will leave links to her shop in the description box below. Okay, so I'm just being very careful with my doily because, as you know, they're quite delicate. So I made my little crisp line to to mark the center. Okay, so I've cut it in half. All right, so this is what it ends up looking like. So now the gluing of this is also fun and tricky, but just being careful. Apologies with the mess. I'm just grabbing my little drop sheet. Okay, so we have our doily. And I'm trying to just sort of see where it's going to be centered, etc. Okay, so I find the best part, the best way to kind of measure the center is to open up your mechanism, line your doily with the mechanism, as you see there, and then we will be adding glue to the outside part of it. Okay, so let me just add the glue just to show you how that's going to look. Okay, then we add our doily again. Okay, oh, gotta line it up a little bit better. Okay, there we go. And you can see how that's there. And then when this goes to close it, hopefully it's even, not so messy how it's looking there. There's that. Okay, so there's one side, and then I'm going to do the same with the other. Open up my mechanism, add glue to this side, so the outside flap that we made. Trying to line this up. Before I completely glue it on that side, I'm just going to see if it's looking like it matches on this side. See how that's off a little bit? I'm just going to move it. Just going to move it a little bit. Trying to make it as even as I can. Okay. And then testing it out when I open it again. And that looks pretty good. Okay, so there we go. There's our little doily with our little mechanism. And open that up, open that up, open that up. Yay, we did it. I know it looks a little off. Just have to fix that in the center, and there you go. So now to add this to your journal. So because we've made it so that it can sort of bend onto itself, as you see here, okay, a little bit, ooh, careful. Add glue to either side of that part, and then you stick it to your page. Okay, and then that's where you would have it in the center. I hope that makes sense. I hope this was a fun video to share with you. I will be making a few more pieces as well in the future. I have a tutorial coming up, making a journal from start to finish, so keep an eye out on that. I hope you enjoyed the share, and questions, comments, leave them below. Thanks so much for stopping by.